Hello everyone. Today we're going to use materials to create a dissolve effect. For example, we can dissolve a character simultaneously from both the head and feet towards the center. Then change the color of the dissolve edge and its center position. We can make this position higher, lower, or even moving it directly to the feet or head. Of course, we can also control the dissolve direction, such as dissolving from both arms towards the center. This means dissolving along the X, Y, and Z axis is all possible. To create this effect, we only need to use materials, controlling the various parameters via material parameter collection within the material. First, let's create a material function. While we could place these nodes directly on the character's material, using a material function is a cleaner way. Then, add a local position node, which get the local coordinates of the corresponding mesh. Next, add a modifiable mesh center. Here we can use an input, choose scalar, and name it mesh center. This allows us to input the desired value in any material using this function. Set the default to -90. Add 1- and dot nodes. Using the dot product between the result and vector 3, we can create an axis-based gradient mask. So let's add another input, choose vector 3, and set the default preview value to -1, meaning we preview using the Z-axis. We can use this preview value as the default. Alright, we've now created a simple axis-based dissolve effect. Next, we need to divide this result by 20 to reduce its intensity, ideally bringing the white area values between 0 and 1. This allows us to add some noise to make the dissolve look more interesting. Add a system-provided noise texture and panner node. Then multiply by a float to control the noise intensity. This looks good already and doesn't need much tweaking. If we need it stronger or weaker, just adjust this float. We can expose it via an input with a default of 1. Set the tiling to 2 for a denser look. Now we have a dynamic mask effect. The next step is to make this mask movable, which is simply subtract a float from it. This value will drive the dissolve animation. Connect it and set a default value. Keep it at 0 for now. By modifying this value, we control the dissolve animation, then add saturate node to clamp the value between 0 and 1. With that, the opacity mask part is complete. Set the output value as opacity mask. Let's create the edge glow effect. We'll use the output value, subtract the dissolve amount, and also subtract a value controlling the glow edge width. Need a new input, name it edge width, and set its default to 0.5. Add these two values together, then subtract their sum from the output value. We'll see the white area is smaller compared to the original. This differs from previous edge effects because we don't need to subtract two regions to get the edge. We'll use a lerp instead. OK, add saturate to clamp this result. Then feed it into a lerp node as the alpha. The areas closer to black, that is input A, should be 0. While areas closer to white, input B, will be the emissive color. Add an input for color, defaulting to blue. OK, this completes our axis-based gradient dissolve material function. Next, create a material parameter collection, found under Material in the context menu. Here's one we created earlier. It contains 3 scalar parameters and 2 vector parameters: edge width, mesh center, dissolve amount, direction, and color. Simply add them here and rename accordingly. Now, open a preview material. place the material parameter collection inside, and link the parameters we want to control. For example, find dissolve amount to control the dissolve intensity. By modifying this parameter in the collection, we control the material's dissolve level. Other parameters are adjustable too. Just add the corresponding values from the material parameter collection. Now, let's see the mesh center parameter controlling where the dissolve centers itself. Edge width controls the edge intensity, and of course, we have direction and color. Connect them all, the effect is now clearly visible. Looks good. Now, let's apply this to a character to create a dissolve from both ends. The preview only showed dissolving from one axis, which is the basic version, and we can apply this to any mesh needing such an effect. Locate the character and its material. Here we're using UE4's default mannequin. Our custom characters work too. First, create a new material for the character. Add set material attributes, then add two channels, one for emissive color and another for opacity mask. Then add the material function we created earlier. To dissolve from both ends simultaneously, we need two material functions set to opposite axis, one for positive Z and the other for negative Z. For the material's opacity mask part, add the outputs of both functions and then perform 1-. This is why we made the white area of the emissive color smaller than the opacity mask's white area in the function. After 1-, the emissive color's white area becomes larger. Simply add them together. Set the parameter values. Add the material parameter collection. Set the direction, the first to the default axis, and the second to the opposite axis, -1. Dissolve amount and other parameters can all be adjusted via the same collection, no extra setup needed, as they share the same logic. With this setup, the character dissolves from both directions towards the center simultaneously. We can also adjust mesh center to control where the dissolve centers, be it the head, feet, character center, or anywhere else. Now, apply this material to the character. Let's try the Z-axis first. So the axis is the B channel, 1 and -1. Set mesh center to around -90. Which works well. Adjust edge width to preference. We can control the effect by modifying the dissolve amount. This character has a second material slot. Apply it too. Yes, it's that simple and great. Let's try other axis, like X-axis, our channel. We'll need to set the mesh center to a suitable value to control the dissolve. Or try the Y-axis, or even a diagonal direction by finding the appropriate mesh center. We can also change the edge color. Alright, that's all for this video. We created a very nice and versatile dissolve effect using materials. I hope you like it. Bye.